Okay, I'm putting up my quinacridone magenta, so I have that. I thought about, do I want to have my Winsor Violet Dioxazine? I've always liked that. The problem with that is that it can go a little muddy, and it depends. So I have here an ultramarine green shade, something I don't usually use. I've got a phthalo turquoise. I don't usually use that. Let's see what that's like. I'm going to maybe squeeze a little bit, so that is interesting. I think that would probably be good for beach glass, maybe. I hate struggling with those caps. I have my...
I've used Moon Glow a lot as a shadow color with turquoise and peaches, and I've liked it, but then you don't want to...
I do. Well, I love the Moon Glow.
I love Moon Glow.
All right, so I'm going to put a little Moon Glow in here. Let's take a look at that. I'll put that where I usually have my violet. I think all this is just me taking my time in case I was going to mess it up, you know. All right, here we have our Moon Glow. Let's look at that. So what I'm thinking about, it's neutralizing, which would be fine, but do I want it to get too neutral? Or a neutral tint, something like that, can be dull, which I don't want. And I'm curious if I took my ultramarine turquoise. That's interesting. I'm not going to think about this too much, actually. We're just going to go ahead and do it. So it was that color that I used for the back. It's funny how I just grabbed the same color. I mean, I haven't used it forever. Now, to soften this edge, I'm thinking, do I want to use the Hake brush, my regular wash brush like this, which could be angular, but it would lay down more of a flat layer. This will take me a little while to get the water in. I don't really want a puddle, so I'm going to scoot it over to the side. I'm going to take my wash mottler, at least that's my plan. I don't necessarily think I want to go over everything, you know, everywhere else. I'm going to try to go in one direction, barely touching the paper. I don't really want to lift everything. I just want to get some water on things. Then I think I'm going to take my number 30 into this combination of the Moon Glow. And what I have to be careful about is the number 30 just had a tendency to grab too much of that color, and since it's such a soft brush, it can get hidden in there. You can see what's happening on the edges here. It's starting to crawl. So let's go ahead and let's go over it. This is gonna dull it down. I'm gonna take some of that quinacridone magenta, bring that in there. Are you all holding your breath like me?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to tone this down.
Oh, my eye just moved.
It moved? Are you twitching? What do you mean?
My eye went right to the center. The minute you did that, it just went boom.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now for over here, I don't want to necessarily get rid of everything. I'm going to just try to touch it with a little bit of water. Clean water, hopefully. I try to barely touch the paper because, let's see, I don't want the color to travel too much. So this has only been a couple of years, right, that I've had this thing. Okay.
Wow.
So isn't that interesting? Okay, and so the green is traveling, but we don't know what's going to happen once it dries. And then I could come back in and maybe I'll just leave it like that. That's kind of neat having that in there. And then maybe clean it up later. Let's see. So I'm just barely trying to touch the paper. What I think I'm going to do right now is dry it so it
stops moving.
Exactly. So hang on. Okay, now if I wanted, I could go, I don't need to do it right now, but I could play around with this background a little bit, make it sharper. But again, I don't necessarily want that little cookie cutter effect in there. And let's see. I'm debating, do I want to play with anything else? Do I want to push this back? If I push that back, then I'm trying to avoid having to go into every single petal.
I think it's gorgeous the way it is.
Just like that little bit of green in there.
Yeah.
It's interesting how maybe just that little, maybe that's all it needed.
Wow.
Wow, it's right, wow.
Big difference.
It's like a whole different painting.
Mm-hmm. So then if I go, do I want to, the light's nice over here. If we go, I mean, the only thing I could have a tendency to push myself too far too, you know?
Yeah.
Don't do it, right.
I wouldn't do anything else.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
alrighty. Then I won't do anything else.